Hello. Okay, this thing says that we're live now. Hope that's the case. Today we're gonna talk about um, self-fulfilling prophecies, uh, business related, of course. And today's joining us, Julian from Mind Headhunter. He actually just joined. Um, Pardon me, I'm still new with live, so I'm not sure if he already asked to. Um, just waiting for him to join now.
Hello,
How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good too. Pretty good.
How's everyone?
I hope everybody.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome, join us.
What was that?
Welcome to join us.
Actually, the other day, I don't know if I was talking about this with you, that like doing a live with another person, apparently you can only have like you can only do like this, like one on one. You cannot
Yeah,
have a third person, which is pretty sad.
yeah. Today we were discussing, friend, um, how annoying could be something on Instagram because you want to stream with someone, you have a lot of problems.
Mm.
It's quite messy sometimes. I don't know. Anyway,
So today, should I introduce you yet another time? Do you want to
yeah.
introduce yourself?
Okay.
Actually, yeah, thank you.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Giancarlo. I am a psychologist, magister in criminology with forensic psychology. I have plenty experience in the clinical and also professional field in psychology. Mm, I know as well of my headhunter, which is a human resource company with a particular way to see and understand business. And well, that's me. Mauricio,
Okay.
go on.
Um, well, I'm actually going to introduce myself since these things are new, kinda. So, geez, to describe my background will be a bit hard. I don't come from any sort of what's the word? Formal education. I gee, this whole idea of I was talking about this earlier, telling your story. Like it's very important, and like we don't know how to do it sometimes. Um, I come from a background of design, and I started this agency, Love, um, with a focus on brand strategy, basically trying to bring a more human side to things instead of just, numbers and sheets and why not. Yeah, that's my introduction.
That's us, basically. Coming to the point, we're discussing today. Um, I don't know. Let's begin with a question. Some of the reasons why we're going to talk about this.
Why are we talking about this? Because you cut out right at the beginning.
No, sorry. Why? Explain some of the reasons why we want to discuss this topic. Why we want to talk about it
Actually, to
today.
be very honest, and like the topics I've chose so far, and the ones I'm going to continue to choose are very self-serving. I mean, things that I either I'm dealing with right now or that I have recently. Um,
Uh-huh.
and it kind of goes tied back to what we talked last stream about assumptions. Um, yeah, it pretty much. I think it's kind of building up on that. Like based on those assumptions, you create a world reality in which you say bad things are gonna happen, and then you unconsciously make sure everything happens. So that story, that particular story, keeps going on. Um, and actually, to tie that up and close and really give the reason. For me, and I'm gonna try to share a little bit about my personal story today. I come from uh, my parents, my dad specifically, which was kind of my model to follow, like first 15 years of my life. Um, he was pretty much like defeated after like certain events that happened in his life. And I kind of grew up with that story of not um, no matter what opportunities I had, no matter what I could do, no matter what my abilities were, none of that mattered. It's just like it was this like drive or not drive, just this decision to not do anything with your life, right? I kind of grew because he was like one of the smartest like people I know of, but like he never got to do anything with it. He like started things and finished, and like I grew up seeing that. Um, so I notice now, for instance, now that I'm like putting things out from love. The other day, yesterday actually, was the last day of this challenge I was doing for like building my brand, and the
Mm-hmm.
last of it was to show type. And I put some posters that Pablo, the designer that did the branding, did. I put them up, and I was like, "Damn, they're so nice!" Like I could see this in a as this like huge big thing, right? But I never treated it like that. So I'm realizing that I've been doing this thing all along, to myself, like not like I have had the tools for a while now, but I've just kind of sit on them, and not done anything with them. So that's why I want to talk about it.
And in fact, is the reason why, I mean, this fulfilling, self-fulfilling prophecies are the reason why many businesses fail. And people, as we talked last week, most people have this tendency to think that the problem is the world. Instead of that, the reason is within ourselves. And it's beautiful because what you said uh, could sound like it's totally out of place because one thing is business and another thing is yourself. It's exactly the other way around. Usually, uh, there's something there. I can hear some echo of my voice
Mm, I'm gonna unplug the headphones. That might work.
now.
Talk.
Sound because my voice was like Darth Vader's.
Okay, but you still hear yourself.
No, no, it's so much better now.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. So, uh, coming back to the point, we cannot separate the business from who we are, and I think that's what you do with branding. We were discussing this, and what you do is aligning the personality of the person who's driving the business
Right.
with the business itself. And every decision you make uh, is aligned to the business and to what you achieve and what you do, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, something as simple as give an order to your colleague or to some, I mean, anyone who works in your company, whoever it is, and you give an order, and the way you express that order, the way you say to that person what you do and how you do it, it makes a huge difference in how the businesses behave and what the company does. And but before to get to this point, I think we should start with what you said, the story. Don't you think? I mean, the personal background, the personal story. I think that's the main thing of a company. I think every business and every entrepreneur has a personal story to start their business,
Yeah.
and it just starts growing and growing, and yeah.
Today I was watching this interview and actually found out about something that is very sad for me, and it's kind of gotten me down a little bit. I found out about it yesterday. I'm listening to the audiobook of Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh.
Mm-hmm.
He's the founder of Zappos. Amazing company, right? Like you've probably, if you're watching this video, you probably have heard like amazing things of Tony and Zappos and like the way they do it. Like that's truly their mission in life is to deliver happiness. Like in everything they do is like that's the why, right? Um, the reason I was kind of sad is because yesterday I found out he died last year, and he died on my birthday, and I didn't know that, and it was like, oh, because like I don't know, it's like such an amazing mind, uh, and an amazing being, like all the things. Because I'm listening, and he's the one that narrates the book, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
this guy is awesome. So like that kind of hit me bad a little bit, but like this interview is him and Simon Sinek, the author of Start with Why.
Mm-hmm.
So they're talking about personal stories, right? And they talk about how they had lunch once, like, and Simon asked Tony about his earliest memory,
Mm-hmm.
and he's talking about how when he was like 4 years old or something like that, he was like catching fireflies. Um, and like long story short, Simon kind of connects that idea of his earliest memory. He basically asks him like, why do you think that's relevant? Why do you think you remember that and not anything else? And he goes on saying how he's still doing that, like capturing light and sharing it with others. And like
Mm-hmm.
people are like about to cry. It's like such a beautiful moment. Like you should go watch that interview. Like just look it up, Tony Hsieh, and that's the spelling of his last name is weird. It's Hsieh, something like that. It's kind of weird to spell it.
Yeah,
And
kind of,
Simon
yeah.
Sinek, great interview. But yeah, they talk about that, and like Simon Sinek is big in that on why, and start with why. Um, we come from this idea of basically, and I see this in startups, and I'm trying to start to understand it. This idea of starting first with the product, uh, then like thinking about the people, and then thinking about the brand. So you first make
Mm-hmm.
develop this product, then you find who, and it takes like 3 years to do this, right? And then they get funding, there's all these things, and I'm like, why do you do that? I mean, I might be completely wrong, like that, or because I don't know about these things, right? But I'm kind of fixated on this idea that everything starts from within. It's like if it's not right here, it's like I don't think it's gonna be right over there. Like if the why is not true, the what is not gonna work.
And I think this is the birthplace, and I think the first point from today is what we believe makes the world we see. I mean, it doesn't matter if you believe in this or not. I mean, I don't care. This is how the mind works. No matter where you live, no matter what you think, no matter anything, what you believe, your beliefs are the way you perceive the world, and those beliefs start growing up when you're a child. Those are the first beliefs. And funny thing, there's a brilliant mind. I love one of the best books I ever read, honestly, is The Emotion Machine by Marvin Minsky. He used to work for Toshiba. He used to design programs and all that stuff. And he studied psychology as well to understand how to make a software, I mean, an artificial emotion machine. Sounds weird. It sounds like sci-fi, but he did understood he did understand emotions so precisely that he could program an emotion machine. And what he says in this book is that every emotion is a way of thinking per se. Every single emotion is like a different brain or a different mind controlling your mind. It's a different every single state of thinking is a different way of thinking, basically. And it's funny because when you take this to your childhood and you start thinking of you when you were a kid, you realize that most of your beliefs are not rational. Most of your beliefs grew up like a seed, and they began from an emotion, from a feeling, from something you experience. My partner and I, we wrote an article. We published it on our website of Mind, talking about decision making. And it was funny because we were talking about the myth of the rational decision maker. And most entrepreneurs that are thinking that what they think rationally is the world they see and is the way things work. But what Marvin Minsky say and what psychology has found is that there's no argument or there's no thought of the reason that is not I don't know, that is not making part of the realm of the emotion. Everything you think rationally, it has to be side by side with an emotion, which is the one that directs the attention.
Right. Like the origin, really.
The origin of the attention. What you feel is what you perceive. Let's say you're all chilled, you're relaxing in your house, and you're not thinking about danger. You're just chilled, and you're not looking at sharp things. You're not paying attention to who's coming around because you're chilled.
Mm-hmm.
Whilst you're on the street walking by, I don't know, dangerous neighborhood, and you're feeling fear, and that fear is directing your attention to everything that can cause you harm, basically. And it's crazy because we give for granted that we're rational and the decisions we make are rational, but instead the decisions we make are based on emotions, and those emotions are based on beliefs that grew up when we were kids. We were not able even to think. We were just feeling back then.
Yeah, I don't even remember. I think it was on a call that I was earlier today. We're talking about the reptilian, the limbic, and the I guess the prefrontal cortex. I don't
Yeah,
remember the three names, right?
the
Um.
prefrontal, limbic, and
Okay, yeah, reptilian.
jeez, I forgot it
Isn't
now. Okay,
isn't it
yeah,
reptilian brain?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The three phases. I just forgot one of them right now. Sorry.
Okay. So, basically the way I see it is that it goes. It's not the way I see it. It's literally science. It goes in that order. That's the hierarchy. First goes your instinct. Whatever comes first, like that's what you act on. Then comes emotions from your limbic, and then comes then you're then you think about it, right? Then you put the thoughts. I cannot pronounce the word.
Your prefrontal cortex is the one that is actually making the thought after all this process of emotion.
But we think it's the origin, which is not at all.
No,
Um,
and and in fact, before making a business, before starting a business, we have to think about what we believe really. What are what which ones are our actual beliefs?
right.
And there's an author in psychology. His name is Jeffrey Young. He's from the CBT philosophy, let's say, a school of thought. And
That call Young's son.
no. That's Young.
Okay.
This one is Jeffrey Young, like when we were young, but not anymore. Anyway,
Okay.
now we're still young. Just kidding. Uh, and this guy, he states some beliefs. I mean, he conceptualized a set of beliefs, emotional beliefs, in fact, that direct our lives and determine what we do and who we are. And I think that's a birthplace before you start a business.
It is. I mean, because I'm like having this conversation and also like relating it to my life and like things I've seen. Um, we, I don't know. I think we've been for way too long ignoring this whole spectrum and
Hmm.
be so convinced that it's not like that, that we're super rational and why not? When you were talking about like how depending on the emotion, it's like a different brain. I was thinking like market crisis, right? It's like that would be the equivalent because now there's no tigers running in the street. It's like we don't have none of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and how when that happens, then people get into that mentality of like trying to be super tactical about everything and like cut like budget cuts and all this type of things, and how it just happens naturally once that trigger happens. Um, it's pretty interesting to just to be aware of that.
I have an example, and it's one of the main examples I give. There's a belief conceptualized by this guy, by Jeffrey Young, and let's say is let's say vulnerability. So there are the beliefs. I mean, there's a that the first rule we talked about today was that all beliefs must be confirmed. All beliefs create that reality because they must be confirmed. That's the way it works. There's no other way. Our brain is too lazy to think in something different. So it's much easier to just do what I know to do.
Same ground rules and just go off of those.
Yeah, yeah, and it happens subconsciously. It happens in the emotional realm. And let's say vulnerability. I believe I'm vulnerable. I believe I could be in danger, or something bad could happen, and I have no resources or no abilities to sort it out. But it's not a belief, a rational belief per se. It's more a feeling. So you have three options to tackle this down. I mean, to confirm this belief. One, I believe I am vulnerable, and when I believe I'm vulnerable, I I start to perceive situations that are dangerous, and start to confirm that I'm vulnerable. B, uh, I know I'm vulnerable. I'm always afraid, but I try to avoid the harmful things. I try to avoid the dangerous things. But for some reason, because that's the way life works, I have to go out, let's say, from my house. I have to leave my house to buy groceries, let's say. And in that moment, my whole body language is telling everyone around me that I'm vulnerable and I am an easy target. And when I do this, well, the thief, or whoever wants to hurt me, will do it because I am an easy target.
Mm.
3, you compensate the belief. By the second you confirm, you're vulnerable. The third is to compensate and do exactly the opposite. So I say I'm not vulnerable. I'm not vulnerable at all. I am strong. No one and nothing can hurt me, and I'm extremely powerful. And in that same way, I do really dangerous things, and I get into complicated situations, and bad things happen, and I confirm I'm vulnerable because I'm not almighty,
Right.
basically.
You basically like just push it. It's like
Yeah,
it's like this sense of control because I can relate to that one. Not necessarily in that context, but it's like you're expecting something bad to happen, but since it hasn't happened, then you push it so it happens earlier. It's like there it
yeah,
is.
yeah, and that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And if we apply this to businesses, uh, I had we had many clients, and one of the most common beliefs is I'm not good enough. I'm not competent. And they try really, really hard to achieve their goals with with their businesses, but for some reason they don't succeed. They're still rumbling around, and they survive in some cases, but they still are not successful as they want. And it's because the small decisions they make are driving them to self-fulfilling prophecies of they are not good enough, and therefore they fail. The company fails. The decisions they make are wrong. The people they choose is not the right people. The business strategy is not the best strategy.
If
And
any, if any strategy, like at this point, they just go at it, right?
yeah, they and in fact, funny thing, they are aligned with their businesses. Their personality match their businesses, and therefore they fail.
Yeah,
And
actually,
it's
I don't
just a
think there's
belief.
such a thing as misaligned. You're always aligned. It's just like, what are you aligned with? It's like when you see like bad couples, like you deserve each other. It's like a bad business relationship. It's like you have this provider that's like giving you, or yeah, it happens in service yeah, service-based businesses. I hear this a lot. It's like, oh yeah, they're a nightmare client. It's like, yeah, but you're being a nightmare designer, lawyer, whatever it might be, because you're allowing it to happen. You're not setting ground rules. You're not telling them what's okay and what's not. You're not communicating at all. You're like, yeah, it's okay. It's like when someone is late to a meeting and you give that answer, that automatic answer. It's like, oh, it's okay. It's like, no, it isn't.
That's the first
Yeah.
step. It's not okay. How can I fix it? And in fact, I think that's the only way to cut up with the self-fulfilling prophecies. I mean, a belief can change. You can start believing something else, something different. But first, and it's exactly the same phrase we used last week with Jung's phrase. This one is Carl Gustav Jung. Jung. Yeah, Carl Gustav Jung. And if you're, do you remember how was it? If you call, if you don't realize your subconscious, if you don't see your subconscious, everything that happens to you will call it fate. If you don't know your beliefs, you will call it fate. When indeed is your beliefs that what's creating reality. And yeah, reality, I mean, you have to assume your responsibility on all this.
This, I think, one of the best things I could have done ever, business-wise, probably the best decision I've taken so far is having another colleague in the business do strategy on love. Because when everything's on paper, it's like now you cannot bullshit yourself. It's like it's right there. Um, and that concept of like not knowing that idea of belief and faith, like thinking, oh yeah, it just happened. It's like it could have happened to anybody, etc., etc. It's kind of hard to take the fact that the entire like all responsibilities is in your hands. That's it. I mean, your business might still fail, but the way it would happen it would change dramatically.
Exactly. We were talking last week about how some beliefs could be in conflict one to each other. We call that ego. And what we have to do is, I mean, yeah, change our beliefs and start to perceive a different world. I mean, align our beliefs to what we rationally want and to our strategy, to our branding strategy, to our uh, organization. And I mean, we need to be aligned, but not aligned with our ego, but aligned with our love. I think that's, yeah.
Yeah, that very on point. That's a lot of things that. What I'm trying to get to is that if you try to rationalize your way through things, it's gonna be really hard. But if you
Mm-hmm.
start from within, it's like all these things. There's so many things to a business. They kind of become clear. It's like this idea of everything falling into place, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that it's not hard anymore or that it's not work. It is. It just won't feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's everything.
Yeah, our personalities, honestly, I mean, the way we think, our more stable beliefs, they are everything to what we do. And also, I wanted to point this out. is that what we see, what we perceive is a reflect, is a projection. And in the same way, what we see, I mean, that projection is the best way to learn what we need to change our beliefs. I mean, if you pay attention to that, it sounds quite easy. Sometimes it's not that easy, but if you at least have the willingness to say, okay, let's say it's my responsibility. I'm going to see what I don't like in this reality. Let's say the way. Let's say in the company we also wrote an article about this and a case study about the high. I don't remember exactly the term in English. Um, but when your personal rotates too much. I mean, when you have too much rotation of your personal, of your stuff, and there are many cases of companies and entrepreneurs, CEOs that suffer this problem in their companies, and it's quite expensive to hire someone new every time they quit. And if someone quits after 2, 3, 4 years, that's okay. I mean, you can handle it. But when you have to hire someone new every 8 months, it's very expensive. And
Just training it alone.
it's extremely expensive, and you're losing money, which is the point of a business. I mean, not losing money, to get money.
Yeah, yeah.
to, to make money, and you're losing it. And this case in particular, we were discussing. I'm gonna post it this next week in English, so you can all read it. It's already in Spanish. Um, and what happened with this specific case, it was that the manager of the business had many problems with assertive communication. He had many problems with the way he think about people. His relationships were not good at all, were not adapted. So people always quit after 8 months. And for him, it was a nightmare. For him, it was a pain. And after a little consulting session and some advices we provide, he started to have changes, and he started to see the improvement of his business, because the staff he was hiring was lasting more than just 8 months. They were working there. Some of them are still working there, and it happened like 5 years ago, which is impressive. I mean, uh, he was hiring someone different every 8 months, and now he has the same staff from 5 years ago. That's a huge improvement, and it's a lot of money he saved. And basically because of his beliefs, the way he thought about people was determine the way his business behaved.
Tony Hsieh, actually in the interview, it's I think it's Simon, the one that talks about this, that whichever one it is, that companies, unfortunately enough, like most companies, um, treat their employees as just hands. That's it. It's like they crush any inspiration they might have. Like if you come with ideas, and I've experienced this myself, like you see in your job and whatever you do day in and day out, it's like, and you start pointing out lots of things that could change and could make it better. And you're like, there's all these things. And the way the old system is built, the way most systems are built, is that you have to go all the way up the chain of command, and you only need one no, and that's it. Your idea just vanishes, is gone.
Yeah,
And
it goes to a huge void.
yeah, that's terrible. It's like you like with Google, like I think Gmail was born from this activities they do. There's like several things they do. Like one of those, I think they force the employees to like every week or every so often. I know they I don't know the time frame, but I know they have to do other things, right? And they
Mhm.
have to prove it to their company. Um, and then within the company, they also like I think they ideate for other departments that are not theirs, and they can just share ideas. And like that's how Gmail was born, how Google Maps was born, like all these amazing things. Um, and knowing that companies actually try to crush that in people, it's like that's sad. I even wonder like how are they even running? It's
It, and funny thing, because so, I think that I mean, there might be some people watching us that say, but what about the businesses that began in the 20s, in the 30s, 40s, 50s? They were very successful. The thing is, back then they were the only ones, first of all, and second of all, they were manufacturing and had no competence. They didn't have any other company uh, running the same kind of business in the same place. So in that case, I mean, they could have the monopoly of everything, of every business in the country or even in the world. But nowadays we have many entrepreneurs, we have many companies, and we think that we are the only ones doing this. And no, there are many other people doing the same.
yeah,
What's gonna make the difference for you and your business to be successful and not the others?
that's right. It's like the shit, I forgot the rules of the game have completely changed. So even
Yeah.
within, because like back then, I think about the education system. I don't know if I said this last call, or like when it's like people think it's doesn't work. It works, and it works so well. It, we don't. It was simply designed for a different time, but it works perfectly. Like it does exactly what it was intended to do. That simply is not relevant anymore. But like back then, it was creating employees one after the other. It's like you're not supposed to talk, you're not supposed to say anything, you're not supposed to think. Just do whatever we tell you to do. Manufacture this, move this, haul this, blah 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 blah. That's it. Your hands. That's it. You're not brains. You're not heart. You're just hands. And that's what was back then everything that was needed. It's like mass production of things, and that's it. You're not allowed to think. You're not allowed to speak up. And based on that, huge ass companies were built. It's like, do you want your company to be like that? No, and that stop like idealizing the past because it was
Uh,
not cool.
and also back then, I mean, people used to, I mean, it was very simple back then because people used to do the job. I mean, to manufacture things by hand. Nowadays, a robot can do it for, I don't know, a fraction of the price people used to do it back then. So what are we going to do, or what strategies are we going to use to achieve, I mean, to survive in the world, basically, because you need to produce and you need to eat and you need to work for that. And I think the only way now is to pay attention to exactly to that exact thing they were ignoring back then, and is the mind. the brain, the person who's behind the eyes, thinking, processing, believing, and creating. I think
Feeling.
that's hmm?
I don't know if you said feeling, but definitely feeling.
And
That's
definitely feeling. Yeah, yeah. Yes, that as well. Yeah, I would change it. Let me restate it. The person continuing before thinking, no, right after thinking, feeling, believing, and creating. Sounds much better. This is
actually
in it.
order, kinda.
But yeah, I think for businesses and for entrepreneurs especially, no, for yeah, I mean everyone must start to think what reality are they creating? How are they fulfilling their prophecies? Are they really nice, good, living prophecies, or they're just nightmares?
Yeah, I think this is like a prompt for everybody. Like, start writing, just in general, but more specifically to this point. Um, 'Cause this has helped me. Like last few days, I started doing this. Um, I didn't think of it as a prophecy per se, but um, I basically profiled someone, someone that I
Hmm.
keep meeting, right? To pretty much realize what is it that that's happening there. And more than that, I also made another profile. I just wrote down basically a character
Hmm.
I would like to start meeting because once I put it on paper, it's like I'm giving my brain context to recognize this, whatever it might be, into the world. So I think that's very important for you, right? Whatever it might be, whatever you might want, or whatever you want to stop happening, it helps to have it somewhere else other than in your brain.
Yeah, it. Yeah, I mean, I think you cannot see it just on your own. You need someone to be the reflection of what you're seeing. I think that's the place where for businesses, we as a company, I mean, your company and mine, uh, therapist, anything that could work professionally as a reflection for you to see these beliefs is crucial. It's necessary.
Definitely, you need to kind of tie that to the beginning about beliefs. Like you have to identify them, and then based on that, pretty much make an exhaustive list of like where can you find that?
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
just make it
and
easy for
how
you.
it triggers everything. Yeah. I mean, understand how it triggers it. It's the same phrase from last week from Jung, honestly, is if you don't make your subconscious conscious, that was it. If you don't make your subconscious conscious, you everything that happens to you, you will call it fate. That's the thing. I mean, there's no easier way to do it. There's no other way. You cannot. You could pay a lot to anyone, whoever you want, to make you feel better or to make or to grow your business. But at the end, the only way for you to succeed is by making a better reality for you to understand yourself and to make better prophecies to confirm better beliefs to be confirmed.
Yeah, yeah. So like this also talked about this last time. This difference from playing finite and infinite games, right? Like, what are you
Hmm.
trying, what are you aiming for? Because sure, you might work with the finite mentality with how things have been done. I mean, this company still exists, but
Hmm.
I truly believe that days are counted. Like that's
Mhm.
simply not sustainable. Um, it's like if you want to work, if you want to make a company, a brand, and all of this with that mentality, geez, God help you. It's like, there's,
I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense why so many companies struggle so much and fight so much to keep the monopoly, because it's the only way for them to survive.
mm,
And with more aware customers, with more aware consumers, the new consumers, they are not buying them anymore. So they have to change their image. They have to change the directors, the CEOs, because I mean, people is not buying that anymore. People is being more aware of their mind, and the beliefs that don't work are vanishing, are extinguishing each other. Extinguishing. Oh, jeez.
good.
My,
Yeah,
my, my mind is at a specific speed, and my mouth is way slower than that.
yeah, I get the feeling. Um, it sounds what you're saying is like all these companies now are kind of trying to fix their problems by putting a band-aid over it. And it's like this pile of band-aids now. And it's like, yeah, that's not gonna cut it anymore.
No.
Um, which is gonna be wild. Like there's like what Netflix did, for example, to like Blockbuster and like all these stories or like
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that all new companies are perfect, good, or like they're amazing, but like it clearly shows that things are changing fast and shoot, like people have to adapt. I also like within that, but that's like an entire conversation for another day. Is this idea? I mean, the bigger a company is, the harder it is for it to move, to shape, to change. And considering how fast things are moving, I'm not even sure if like companies are ever gonna get to be that big ever again. Considering
Exactly. E-
how things are.
Exactly. And I mean, and if you want a prophecy of the tendency of growth and how the business and how the economical model is gonna move, it's easy. It's just one word, and you already have it. Love. People is moving towards love. Period. If there's a business, a company that is not ethical, is gonna fail. It's incredibly funny. I was looking few months ago at the story of diamond companies, and diamonds were in fact priceless. I mean, they had no price at all. Not priceless because they were extremely good, but
No, I get it. I
because they
get
had
it.
no price at all. I mean, they were just rocks.
Worthless, right?
Yeah. Uh, and after a publicity campaign from, I don't remember the company. They had the monopoly of diamonds.
Right.
They became extremely expensive. It was just an illusion. And now, I mean, it was in the 50s, 60s that the business company was at its top. It was right on top of this. And nowadays, after Blood Diamonds, the movie, and after what people have realized, what's the price behind a diamond, what happens, what it does, and everything, their business is going this way, and people is trying to get more. I mean, people still like diamonds, but they're aiming for diamonds blood free
Hmm. Which is
and
not profitable for them.
yeah, and ethical companies. And basically, the companies that are making diamonds in laboratories are the ones that are selling. I mean, their sales are increasing instead of decreasing as the exploiting companies, the mining companies.
I
It
love
makes you wonder because people, I mean, people don't want blood anymore. There was Nestle, I think it was. Please don't kill me. Just kidding. But I think it was Nestle. I'm not sure, right? Or some of these huge companies with monopoly in chocolates. They were enslaving kids in Africa. Properly slavery nowadays. And as soon as this scandal showed up, their sales, I mean their shares started to decrease. And people is aiming, instead of these huge companies, is aiming for new markets and people who from their own countries people is aiming to these new entrepreneurs that have ethical and organic processes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this it's like a more personal. By the way, the live it's gonna end soon. Just heads up. I think at the hour mark, just like it's about to happen.
Well,
But yeah, like people are shooting more into. You cannot see an organization as machinery. It's an organization,
organic, yeah.
and people are shooting more towards that, towards more community based, not the faceless big brands. And like this, all this, then it makes sense. Well, why all this startup mentality kind of came up to be, and this whole agile idea of like making things fast and like being able to like kind of vomit companies one after the other and ideate and be creative and like keep exploring and putting things out there instead of just on this big one thing and like no innovation whatsoever, no creativity really, no soul, no heart, nothing. Just hard money and that's it. Nothing matters. Um, it's like, I mean, money. It's always not always, but still a currency. Like we need it for quality of life. But
It's a resource.
right, but emotion, it's becoming even bigger, a bigger currency.
Yeah,
And
the experience is, yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
oh yeah, go on.
No. I was just saying that is people listening for experiences based on love. Is the tendency of the market right now. People
This
listening
idea
towards love.
of belonging to something better, to know that you're
Yeah.
helping um, the world like be a better place instead of. I love that about this generation. So I'm looking at this Netflix series called The Politician. A lot of things in it, but in the second season now, and so there's two candidates. One that's young and talking about the environment, and then they're running for Senate in New York, and then the old
Mhm.
senator, and she's like basically a boomer, and they're showing how basically the old generations give like not even half a fuck about the environment. They just keep destroying it, and they just don't care about it, right? Because they were raised on that. Um, and they show like the how this character that's practically a boomer, how she starts like shifting her mindset, seeing how the young people are behaving, and then seeing how the people she considers heroes that save the planet and save everything are actually destroying it and actually the problem.
Mhm.
And like at the end, she votes for the younger candidate, and it's like pretty cool to kind of see that shift and like how things are moving towards that. Because I mean, not to be super dramatical, but like, yeah, the world is like ending practically, like as we know it. Like we've destroyed it. Like it's virtually destroyed. That's it. And it's like a miracle would have to happen for us to be able to fix it. By all predictions, like humanity could disappear tomorrow, the planet's still going to crap. It's like that's how bad we effed up.
Mm-hmm.
So like, which I know it sounds like super dark, but I think it actually proves how driven the younger generations are. Because like we don't give a crap if there's no hope. Everybody's still moving towards that direction of like we can still do it. How we don't know, but like we're all going for it. I love that.
And that's especially significant when you think about the people. I mean, if we get to live in other planet, who are the ones that are going there?
The ones
so
that
so
cause the problem.
yeah, I mean, and first of all, are you gonna be able to be there? Second of all, are you willing to leave behind all the other people? So it is much easier to fix this world instead of finding a new one and try to get there. I mean, hoping that you will get there in one piece.
Actually, that makes me think of like now we're just free form talking. It makes me think about Elon Musk, like this whole idea of going somewhere else, but not because he wants to abandon Earth or something like that. It's like this, because you know Tesla and all this electric stuff and green
Mhm.
energy. It's like he's also trying to save Earth, and I love that. It's like this idea of kind of helping society move to the next step, in which we can like be one with Earth instead of destroying it, and then be able to move past that and be one with our solar system. I mean, that's kind of out there, I know, but I like that. I like this idea of like going to work every day with such vision. It's like you're not just working for, I don't know. It's like life really changes when you're going for something that big instead of
Yeah.
just next paycheck or whatever.
Uh,
Yeah,
yes, it's extremely relevant to think that you're gonna spend most of your life working. You better do something that you really enjoy. You better enjoy your life. That's it. And that's a good fulfilling prophecy. I mean, if you're gonna live that way, it's worth it in all way.
what's the
You
point of playing the game if you're not gonna have fun?
exactly. It makes no sense. And I
Yeah,
think, yeah, is the best way to make this world a better world and to make our businesses run the right way in a way that they will exist maybe forever.
yeah, that's crazy to think like to have an opportunity to build something that would outlive you, and you
Yeah,
will be better after that. So,
yeah. Leave a legacy.
yeah,
That's something. Be reminded for being the hero and not the villain.
yeah,
That's also a self-fulfilling prophecy, self-esteem. But I think that's another topic.
okay.
The way, yeah, the way we think of ourselves and what people think about ourselves. But I think that we have no time today for that.
Yeah. Actually, I'm like looking at the clock. It's like I think the time has passed, but oh no, it's actually damn. The clock is like really forward, like, like good 15 minutes ahead. So that's why I'm like, what's happening? Um, but yeah, let's start saying goodbye so we don't get cut off because it just literally tells us like you got 30 seconds left. So um,
Okay.
I'll add all the references we shared today in the description. You mentioned two articles. You have to share. Well, you're gonna translate them, right? I'm still gonna put them on like in Spanish for the ones who know.
Both of them are in Spanish. I already translated once. We're going to upload it maybe Monday, and the other one is gonna be uploaded on Wednesday probably.
Okay, yeah, we'll figure that out. But where can people find you? Still gonna tag
Uh,
you. Say.
it's at Julian Caro Gonzalez, and our company is called Mind at mindheadhunter.com. And of course, follow Love Necio and Mauricio. Thank you for this. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you.
I don't know. See you next time.
Oh, Cassie. Remember Cassie?
Cassie.
Yeah, she just joined. It's like hi and bye.
And bye.
Yeah,
You will watch it later. No worries.
yeah.
Okay, everyone. Remember, share love and keep in mind all the things you need to focus on. Take care, everyone, and thank you so much. Thank you, bro. It's been
Thank you.
an
Yeah, it
experience.
was very nice. It was very nice to do this, and I hope we do it soon again.
Okay, next Monday, there's gonna be another live video with a colleague from Slovakia in Europe. So please join us as well. It's gonna be 3 p.m. Colombia, 9 p.m. Europe. Okay.
Do one of those
So join
funny
us as
things
well.
in your story so I can share it.
Of course, yeah. I'm gonna send you all the information, and everyone remember to follow us.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. See you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.